Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This is my first video in a while, but some interesting weather has finally arrived, and I'll be talking about the potential for quite a windy day tomorrow and into Tuesday as well. And this is the first thing I'm starting off with. This is a weather watch outlook that I created earlier today, and it basically shows where the strong winds will be. And you can see that in this yellow region, we're expecting winds to be widely 40 to 50 miles an hour, possibly even up to 55 miles an hour inland, and then up to 60 or 65 miles an hour on coasts and also exposed southwesterly facing hills. Now this will be valid from 12 o'clock on Monday right through to midnight, and then we go also into Tuesday morning in parts of the southeast as well. So if I just break this down through time, I'd say that this area is going to see the main threat probably through the early to mid-afternoon. This area is going to see the main threat through the mid-afternoon to evening. This area is going to see the main threat from the late afternoon to evening, and then we might also come in for a round 2 on Tuesday morning in the southeast as well, specifically basically this region here, so the far corner. And it will be raining heavily at times as well. We'll likely see quite a lot of rain, and the heavy rain combined with the fact that the trees are in full leaf because it's spring now approaching summer means that we will see potentially some tree damage, even though we might not usually see that kind of thing for this kind of wind in the winter. Anyway, this is the weather pattern that we're seeing, and you can see we have this low pressure system, unusually low for this type of year, which is sweeping down into the UK like that. And you can see we've got lots of fronts around. We have occluded fronts, we have cold fronts, we have warm fronts, and it's going to be quite an active system as it moves through. It's going to start to weaken, but nevertheless it will have active fronts with lots of rain, lots of precipitation, and you can see we have quite tightly packed isobars, especially around this side of the low, and that's going to bring quite a spell of strong winds as it moves through this region. And you can see further on it deepens, but then it starts to weaken as it moves in this direction. But look at all those fronts that are in the area, and that's going to be bringing a wet and a windy day for many in parts of southern England and Wales during the day. So if you have a look at the few of the models, this is the icon model, and I'll just run it through it here. I'll go through this first. This is the overview, so you can see this is expected precipitation through this region, and you can see it's going to be very wet and windy across the southern half of the UK, Republic of Ireland first, then transferring eastwards like this, and you can see we're going to have quite a lot of heavy rain, which should hopefully help with kind of the drought situation. And if I swap over to the wind speeds as well, you can see that we do have quite strong winds. I think this model is probably doing it quite accurately, showing the wind speed, so 40 to 50 miles an hour on land, then possibly up to 70, but more likely 60 or 65 on coasts. We have a look at another model. This is the arpeg model. You can see relatively similar thing. This doesn't have as high a resolution, so it doesn't particularly resolve like hills and stuff well. You can see generally same thing, 40 to 50 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour gusts on coast as well, and still pretty wet, as you can see like this. If we look at this very high resolution model, the Arome, you can see that it's showing quite a wet day with potentially some pretty heavy thundery showers around the core of the low, where we'll have some possibly colder air aloft, and then also in this very active frontal band. Now, it does look like this model would be showing quite a significant weather day, but the one thing I will say is this model, in my experience, does often overestimate the heaviness of the storms and how widespread they are, all that kind of thing. But on the wind speed front, I would say this seems like quite an accurate idea of strong wind speeds spreading through southern England and Wales, and then potentially bring some gusts up to 50 miles an hour or so inland. This is a snapshot of the precipitation and sea level pressure from the UKV weather model, which is the Met Office high resolution model. And you can see here that we'll have quite a lot of rain around the fronts that I showed on this map. So we'll have quite a lot of rain around here, potentially some heavier bursts, particularly on the back edge and where the centre of the low tracks across the country. So I'd say the best chance of seeing any thunder would probably be in this region, Northern Ireland, Southern Scotland and Northern England, though I'd say the chance of thunder here is relatively low, and we could see an odd strike or two across the southern region. But you can see here where we have these tightening isobars, we do have some strong winds, and the Met Office have issued a yellow wind warning. This is the forecast precipitation totals from tomorrow from that same model, and you can see much needed rain looks like it will occur tomorrow, widely 5 to 10 millimeters, some spots seeing a little bit more than that, especially up north into parts of Scotland as well, seeing over 30 millimeters potentially in higher elevations, exposed areas, but widely 10 to 20 millimeters or so, or at least 5 to 15 millimeters, which should help with the drought situation. Now, one more thing, I recently changed the mount to my Tempest weather station. I do have a review video on here, and I'm hoping that I could get some strong wind speeds. Now, the strongest wind speed I've ever got on here is a gust of 39 miles an hour, and there was once a gust of 48 miles an hour, but I don't really trust that. I couldn't really find any evidence to support it, and it's just a bit random. It wasn't a particularly windy day. It was slightly blustery, but that doesn't look likely. But my strongest gust ever, that apart from that one, has been 39 miles an hour. And recently I changed my mount to give more exposed direction. So I am hoping that I could potentially set a new record. And on my website, which I'll put in the description, and also I'll put this page in the description as well, you can check my weather station and see if I break the 39 mile an hour record. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. This is the summary for today's video. Wet and windy day tomorrow, and stay weather aware, stay up to date with the latest warnings from the Met Office, and thank you. Bye.